would you please stand?
Eres todo en mí, el sol que me ilumina y me hace tan feliz, la fuerza que conduce mi existir. Solo tú, mi amor. Si me abrazo a ti, yo siento que tu esencia se dispersa en mí. No queda ni un espacio en mi sentir. Eres tú, mi luz. Eres todo en mí y llevo entre mis labios todo tu sabor. Cruzaré mi bien océanos más profundos por saber de ti. Eres todo en mí, por siempre y para siempre, desde que te vi. Nunca más tendré temor, pues con tu amor volví a sentir y a renacer.
Good afternoon. My name is Dorothea Schaub, and on behalf of Sasha's family, I welcome you all here today, both here in this room and those who are watching from Argentina, Chile, and the United States through live streaming of the service. We gather to honor and celebrate the remarkable life of Dr. Sabatai Grunberg, known to so many of you as Sasha or El Dr. Grunberg. We come together with full hearts heavy with grief at his passing, but also hearts full of gratitude for the years you were given with him and for the profound love, wisdom, and joy that he brought into this world. Sasha passed away peacefully here in Calgary on August 15th at the age of 89. He leaves behind a beautiful legacy of family and friendships. His beloved wife and soulmate for 35 years, Astrid. Their blended family of 6 children, Tevi, Danny, Emily, Alex, Ken, and Jessica. He adored his 7 grandchildren, Jordan, Alicia, twins Sophia and Gina, Theo, Kalina, and Hilda, and was delighted to welcome his great-grandson Santiago into the family circle. Today, we also want to remember Sasha's sister Veronica and her spouse Mario and their children who are here today, Vivian, David, Michael, and Alex Bejerman. And it was with great sadness that the family learned yesterday of the death of Sasha's cousin, Galia Rennert. Galia and Sasha were very close cousins and were always calling each other on the phone. And the Grunberg family extends their deepest condolences to the Rennert family. Today we celebrate not just Sasha's accomplishments, but his spirit, the spark of curiosity that made every conversation richer. Curiosity that made every conversation richer, and his love of a spirited tango or a well-played tennis match, his laughter and warmth that filled every room. This is a non-religious service, but it is deeply meaningful, a time to remember Sasha's life and influence, to share stories, to comfort one another, and to carry his memory forward. As we begin, let us take a quiet moment together just to settle our thoughts, to feel the presence of one another, and to honor the life of a man who lived fully, loved deeply, and leaves us richer for having known him. One of the most powerful ways that we honor a life is through the sharing of stories. And Sasha's life was full and rich, a life marked by curiosity, wisdom, humor, and deep love for his family. No single person can capture all of that he was, but together your voices will help us see him more clearly, remember him more vividly, and celebrate him more fully. It is an act of courage and love to speak on a day like this, and it is also a gift to everyone gathered here to hear Sasha's story told by the people who knew and loved him best. We'll begin with Alexandra Keim, Sasha's stepdaughter. Their bond was never defined by blood. To Sasha, his stepchildren were always his own, and Alex's place in his life was one of true family and love. Alex?
Thank you, Dorothy. It's so very nice to see all your faces here today as we say our final goodbyes and honor an outstanding human being, my stepdad, Sasha Grunberg. Before I share some stories, though, I would like to extend a heartfelt thank you to everyone who came together to make the past few difficult years, months, and in particular the last few weeks of Sasha's life and made it pass in love and in comfort. Especially to my mother, Astrid, who's a pillar of strength and has, with her grace and love, held us all together. Now, I know Sasha was grateful for all the family that pulled together in his final moments. Danny, Jessica, Jordan, Eduardo, I think I saw you here somewhere. Maria, who's in Mexico, and all the wonderful care staff at the facility of Glenmore Aged Care. Thank you very much, and all the people here at the funeral home. So, with that, I'll just take a bit of a drink. Is there a problem? How did you guess? A father can come in many forms, not always from biological ties. To me, Sasha was a friend, a role model, and a confidant. Sasha was kind, funny, and caring, loved by many of his patients and friends. He became a role model to me and my siblings. The Sasha we knew could be, though, a little wee bit of a curmudgeon. But he was our curmudgeon, wasn't he? We locked horns more than once, but always heard each other. I like to think maybe we became better people despite the differences. After all, there's so much arguing we could do about whether vitamins were good for me or not. I was 8 years of age. He was our family doctor until I turned 18. Some years later, I revisited him at his practice under the guise of needing a tetanus shot update and to ask him what his intentions were with my mother. He laughed. He had the capability to fill the room with his warm and just a little bit unnerving laughter. He laughed some more. We both laughed. He then jabbed me with the needle and said that he had the utmost gentlemanly intentions towards my mother. He then added very seriously, the rest was none of my business. From that day on, I never questioned their intentions, nor did I ever go back to him for any more vaccinations. Shortly after my maladroit but well-meaning efforts, our small family of 4, a single mother and 2 siblings, grew exponentially. And I can tell you that all of us, including myself, Ken, Danny, Tevi, Emily, and Jessica, we gave the 2 of them a run for their money. Sasha, however, always had our backs, no matter what kind of shenanigans we could get up to. And boy, we got up to some really real good ones. During the last few years of his life, we would go to visit museums. I remember taking him to see the Tacton Abbey exhibition at the Glenbow. The artist is the same age as he was at the time. This was only about a year and a half ago. And it was touching when he, after looking at one of the paintings for what seemed like a lifetime, I thought he was finally seeing the painting and the meaning behind it all. He turned to me and said, "He makes money doing this?" Gruffiness or not, he always had a way to get to the point. Following our adventures, he was always up for a pint at his favorite pub, but never wanted a whole one. He always had to share. Every time. Always shared. I think somehow this made it okay for him to have 2 beers. So, lastly, in his honor, I would like to take this moment to share a glass while I read you this poem we came across a year ago during one of our outings to Kensington Pub. It was in a pamphlet we picked up. In hindsight, somehow, I think these words foreshadowed the difficult adventure he alone was to embark on. So, here's to you, Sasha. The Swan by Rainer Maria Rilke. This laboring through what is still undone, as though, legs bound, we hobbled along the way, is like the awkward walking of the swan. And dying to let go, no longer feel the solid ground we stand on every day. Is like anxious letting himself fall into waters which receive him gently, and which, as though with reverence and joy, draw back past him in streams on either side, while infinitely silent and aware, in his full majesty and evermore indifferent, he condescends to glide. My dad, adoptive father, teacher, friend, and adventure buddy, passed away on a rainy day on the morning of Friday, August 15th. I believe he leaves with us this legacy: to be kind to each other, to question everything, and solve problems with dignity and emotional intelligence. Thank you. Can I leave these here? Thank you.
Thank you, Alex, for sharing your tribute to Sasha. Next, we welcome Sasha's son, Daniel. Daniel shared a close connection with his father, one that carried through to Sasha's final days, and we now would like to hear his tribute. Daniel?
Okay, thank you. Hi, everyone. I'm Daniel Grunberg. I'm my dad's son, and thank you for being here. My dad was truly one of a kind. He wasn't someone who wasted time on small talk. No, he was all about purpose. Whether talking about business, politics, medicine, or whatever else was on his mind, he didn't just talk to talk. He always had something to say. Every conversation had weight, depth, and sincerity. He had a rare way of applying his thoughts and convictions to everything, which always made his words count. I've come to realize that a lot of that understanding, that way of seeing the world, came from what he went through in his early life. I think about how much he saw and experienced as a young boy. Things that most people never have to face in a lifetime. He lived more in his first 20 years than many do in their entire lives. As a child, my dad's world was turned upside down when he had to flee Romania. The Soviets came in there with their communism and expropriations, and everything he knew, his friends, his home, was suddenly taken away from him. He, along with his mom, dad, and sister, had to leave everything behind and start from scratch, first in Italy and then to Argentina. But even as a teenager, he understood his role and his responsibility. At 13 or 14, while most of his buddies were out kicking the ball, he was already working to help his family. His first job was sewing fur coats at a little store in Buenos Aires, Pieles Davidson. That store still stands today, unbelievably. And if you go to the back of that store, the same workbench that he worked at is still standing there. It's just like as if he were there. Like if it was 1950 in the back there. He learned early on what it meant to work hard, to hustle, to make a buck, to do what it takes to get ahead. For the past 20 years, I treasure the routine him and I shared, grabbing a coffee together, going for a walk, finding a bench to sit at. Just the two of us, we spent so many great moments together. I'll never forget those quiet mornings when we'd grab a coffee and just sit by the Elbow River, find a bench there in Stanley Park and just talk about life, work, family. Those were some of my favorite times with him. And of course, he loved ping pong and tennis and squash and racket sports. And let me tell you, my dad was great at ping pong. He had a heck of a backhand he mastered and taught me. I always treasure those moments, whether we were in either of his basement or mine, or later when he'd visit me at the office, playing competitive ping pong and just enjoying each other's company. And man, could he smash that ball better than anyone. And he'd all have that smile, and just like, oh, I got you. And he did. He loved that. But beyond all that, what I remember most is how he made me feel. How much he cared, even if he didn't always show it the way others might. He believed in tough love. He believed in earning your place in the world and working for what you wanted. He knew that to really understand the world, there was no better way than to learn it by trial by fire, the way he did it. And while I didn't always appreciate that when I was younger, now I get it. He taught me to keep going no matter how tough things got, and that you had to always be moving forward, always hitting the ground running. And he'd always say the truest words of all time, that if you snooze, you lose. Dad was a superbly good-looking guy, always extremely charismatic and loved, well-dressed. He always was so well-dressed and well-spoken, and just such a classy guy throughout his entire life. And I just wanted to share some things about Dad. First, that he introduced his sister to Mario, her husband, and from that connection came 4 lovely members of the Benjamins. So what an impact that had on his sister's life. And another thing is how during his marriage with my mom, he helped bring all of my aunts and cousins to Canada from Argentina, and what an impact he had on on their lives, even today, as they live in Canada. Most of them do, and what a difference that was in their lives. Another thing about my dad is he had the loudest sneeze you can ever. It's so memorable. I remember we were in like a planetarium or an auditorium. It was quiet, the acoustics were just perfect. And he sneezed and it felt like there was a lightning strike. People literally jumped out of their seats. It was just incredible. And I'll never forget that. And one more story is that, of course, I wasn't born at the time, but he was in Montreal doing his residency, and he shared this story that he bought an examination table that he envisioned bringing it to see patients, and because he didn't have an office at the time, so he'd put it in the car. It didn't fit in the trunk, so he left it in the back seat. And it was too heavy to take to see any patients, so just lived in the back seat. I don't think he used it once, It's just he hustled it along. So that's my dad. And Dad, I love you, man. So proud to be your son, and forever proud of you. I'll carry everything you taught me with me every day. I'll live with the same grit and determination and perseverance you showed me. And I'll be sure to pass that wisdom on to my children, just like you did for me. Until we meet again, big guy. I love you. Thank you.
Thank you, Daniel. As we listen, we begin to see Sasha not just as a husband, father, or friend, but as a man of many layers, curious, kind, and full of life. Next, we're going to hear from Ken Kime, Sasha's stepson. Sasha and Ken trusted and relied on one another in countless ways, offering support, guidance, and friendship throughout life's ups and downs. Ken's presence in Sasha's life was a source of steadiness and friendship. And today he'll share some of his reflections on that enduring bond. Ken?
Thank you all for being here. Intelligent, strong, reliable, loyal, caring, compassionate, classy, composed, gentleman, humble, pragmatic, logical, frugal, hardworking, successful, well-dressed, sarcastic, funny. These are a few adjectives I can use to describe Sasha. Sasha taught me so much over the years, and it was always taught by example. I always appreciate our healthy debates over numerous topics such as world events, the economy, medicine, and one of his favorites, business. It always fascinated me how he would consistently bring up points of view that I would never think of. He had the ability to look at issues and bring a perspective that was unique and always well thought out. He was an incredibly intelligent man. I will miss those debates. He taught me that nothing is free in this world. It has to be earned. He taught me the value of hard work and money. He taught me the value of thinking before speaking. He showed me the importance of integrity. He taught me so much. And one of the most important lessons he taught me was how he treated his wife, my mom. I recently had a conversation with my mom and asked her what was one of the things she loved about Sasha. She contemplated for some time, then thoughtfully said that he would never blame her for anything. Even when she knew she had made a mistake, Sasha would always point the blame at something else, but never towards her. Sasha had so much love and respect for my mom, and it showed me how to be a better man in my relationship. Sasha was a classy man and an inspiration. I'm sure he's in heaven right now, wearing his button-up collared shirt with sweater over top, having several great debates. Love you, Sasha. We all do. Thank you all for being here to pay respects, and let's share and rejoice in all the stories we have about this incredible man. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. These memories remind us that a life well lived is never measured by years, but by laughter, lessons taught, and the love that continues to grow. Next, Sasha's daughter, Emily Grunberg, will speak. Emily has traveled here from Buenos Aires, Argentina, where she's currently living and studying. Though her husband, Valerio, and daughter, Hilda, could not be here in person, their love and thoughts are very much here with Emily, with Sasha, and with all of you here today. Emily?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you all very much for being here and honoring my father and supporting the family. For those who don't know me, I am Sasha's youngest daughter. It is impossible to capture my father's spirit in just a few words, but today I'd like to share some personal memories that I will cherish forever. As many of you know, my father did not have a typical life. He was born in Romania, was forced to leave with his family towards the end of World War II, when he was just a child. He and his family moved to Italy, where he learned to speak Italian, and then settled in Argentina. Once there, his newly acquired Spanish, his ingenuity, and maturity allowed him to get a job where he was able to support his entire family. But he was just a kid. After studying medicine in Argentina, he made his way to Canada and ended up here in Calgary. My dad did not have much of a childhood, but he did make sure that we did. One of the things I'll cherish most was my dad's unique ability to make my brother Danny and I laugh. And by laugh, I mean that uncontrollable laughter that makes your stomach hurt. These memories probably don't mean much to anyone else, but to us, they were the funniest things in the world. Often when we'd be in one of those moments, when we were forced to wait, like at a restaurant between sitting down and getting your food, my dad would find a way to make the most of it. He would challenge us not to laugh when he raised his index finger. Danny and I would lose it. We just wouldn't be able to stop laughing at his finger. He wasn't trying to be the funniest guy in the room for everyone, but he was trying to make his kids laugh. He wanted to turn an otherwise dull moment into a moment of pure joy. On our family vacations to Mexico, during long walks that kids typically complain about, and now I understand this because I have my own daughter, he would always skip. Have you ever seen a grown man skip before? It was the best thing ever to see, and Danny and I just couldn't stop laughing. That vivid memory of him skipping along the sidewalks in Mexico is priceless and never fails to bring a smile to my face. Dad loved making us laugh. He was super laid back and would allow Danny and I to be silly. He did not rush us to grow up, and I am grateful. And that presence we felt so strongly as children, that knowledge that he was there for us remained a constant throughout our entire lives. My father, has always been present in my life. He would call me often, and he was always just a phone call away whenever I needed him. He was always happy to hear from me. He never failed to tell me that he was proud of me. I consider myself extremely lucky to call him my father. Thank you, Dad. I love you. I miss you.
Thank you, Emily. Every voice today adds a thread to Sasha's story, a story that stretches across generations and touches all of us here. Now we're going to invite Jessica Kraczynski to come forward. Jessica has many roles, that of daughter, grandmother, a stepdaughter to Sasha, friend, grandmother, sister, and aunt. She's part of 3 long family branches, the Kimes, the Greenbergs, and the Kraczynskis. Her contagious laughter has always been a bright presence, and was a cherished part of Sasha's story. Jessica?
Thank you for all being here today. When I was 6 years old, I met a doctor. What a stark man, I thought. What a smart man, an obviously worldly man, educated and kind man. We were new to this country, and in my short little life, I knew that this man was a special man. And very, very tall from my little short stance. He remained my health care giver for the following decade, with concern, kindness, and always a quick wit. When I was 16 years old, I met a friend. You see, I was in trouble, as some girls do, and I was met with compassion, empathy, discretion, and guidance, again with kindness, and always with a quick wit. As I sat crying, he said to me casually, "I'd take this as not being good news." He remained my friend for the following decade, and as well, he still remained very, very tall. When I was 26 years old, I met a man who was caring, accepted me and my siblings as a whole, and welcomed us into his life. A man who had my back so many times, a loving man, a man who was direct and sometimes harsh, because now he was vested. At this time, I had a daughter of my own, and then he reverted back to doctor mode and gave me the statistical numbers on the fact of how many women are unable to breastfeed, then to friend mode, on how much research goes into baby formula, and then provider mode, when cases and cases of formula appeared on my doorstep the following day. When I was 36, another decade later, I met a father. I had a fall, and some people do. And he would contact me periodically on his drives to his office in the privacy of his car, just to check in when no one else did. Always still very, very tall. Our conversations were short, but I knew he loved. Excuse me. He was a brilliant, funny man who had a sense of humor that always lightened any weight. I recall when we were in Chile, I played tennis with one of his dear friends, Nico. And I got hit in the eye with a tennis ball. As I walked into the room with a red circle around my eye and a bruised ego, he casually looked up from the table and said, "Jess, I told you to keep the eye on the ball, not the ball in the eye." Over the years, he had become the father that I had never had. I had not counted the years and all the strives, the joy, the laughter, since it seemed that he had always been in my life in one form or another. But in reality, he had. 52 years of knowing Dr. Sabbatai Greenberg, and in my mind's eye, in the pulse of my heart, he was and always will be the tallest man that I have had the honor of knowing. May you rest in peace, my friend, my father, Sasha. Thank you.
Thank you, Jessica. We can hear in each word just how much Sasha meant to those who loved him. His presence lives on through these memories and through each one of you. Diego Soto and his wife Rosie are lifelong friends to Sasha and Astrid. Together, the four of them shared many adventures, countless meals, and built a circle of friendship that truly became family. Diego will now share some reflections on this lifelong bond. Diego?
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I'd like to thank the Astrid and the family to get me here in this podium. Meeting. I'm here. I got two missions. One is to read in Spanish a message from one of his friends from university, Dr. Juan Peggy. Is a surgeon, cardiology. This is a message. Estimada Astrid y familia, quiero que con estas líneas vayan mis sentimientos y condolencia por la muerte de mi amigo Sacha. Este es el momento de recordar con mucho dolor al que fue esposo, padre y amigo, recordando los mejores momentos que compartimos con él. Recuerdo cuando una vez nos sentamos juntos en una clase de psiquiatría con el profesor Echigoyen, quien habló sobre cómo el médico puede ganarse la confianza de los pacientes. Después de esa clase fuimos a tomar un café y hablamos sobre lo que el profesor nos enseñó. Y eso sería muy importante para nuestro futuro como médico. Al final de la conversación hablamos de que podríamos estudiar juntos y algunas materias. Sacha ofreció su casa, que estaba más cerca del hospital. Desde ese momento empezó una amistad que duró muchos años. Siempre lo consideré como una persona muy inteligente, un buen amigo. Después de nuestra graduación, viajamos juntos con un grupo de compañeros de la Facultad de Medicina por 3 meses. Visitamos varios centros médicos en Alemania e Italia. Cuando regresamos a Mendoza, el destino nos separó. Yo elegí ir a USA, a Estados Unidos, para seguir una especialidad en cirugía, y Sacha siguió la especialidad de médico internista. Después de varios años volvimos a encontrarnos con Sacha y su nueva esposa, Astrid, y fue el amor de su vida, y encontró en ella la felicidad del matrimonio. Siempre lo recordaremos como un caballero y un buen médico. Doctor Juan Peggy, médico cirujano, cardiólogo, Baltimore, USA. Ese es el mensaje de un gran amigo de Sacha. Mi otra misión es hablar un poquito de él. De la amistad que forjamos por muchos años. Conocí a Sacha como era mi doctor. Y yo no sé, cuando yo lo iba a ver, como doctor, o era un business meeting, porque terminamos hablando media hora, 1 hora de negocio. Oh, sorry, we gotta change. So I met Sacha as a doctor. He was my doctor for many years. And And I don't know, when I used to go and see him, it was as a doctor or it was a business meeting, because we ended up talking for half an hour in his office about business. With that, we became friends and we started visiting each other. And for the longest time, with Astrid and my wife Rosa, maybe once a month, every other month, it was in my house, in their house, or in a restaurant, or in Chile, or in Phoenix, or traveling together. And it was fighting and buying stuff at the market in Istanbul, in the Grand Bazaar. Fighting for prices, and Sacha was beside me, looking at me, what I was doing, because of people asking for $10 for this, and I was saying, I'll give you $1. No, you're crazy, And Sacha was touching me. They say, well, at the end, I used to take $2, and he has $2, and I used to hug them, kiss them, and Sacha was laughing beside me, because that's the way we're doing. We had so many times together. Remember, he was never play golf, but one time when our friends, he did a golf tournament for the Lions Club, and he's not playing golf. But Kenneth was our teacher. So anyway, that's I got so many memories from him, but I always want to remember him as a gentleman. Dr. Rumber, I used to call him. And he was laughing because I was saying that. But I will remember him as a gentleman, well-dressed, always good-looking type of guy. And thank you for having me here and be able to tell adios, Sacha. We'll see each other sometime. Thank you.
Thank you, Diego. These tributes have painted a vivid picture of a life lived with passion and warmth. Through them, Sacha's spirit is very much here with us. Thank you to each of our speakers for bringing these stories forward today, for sharing your hearts and your memories. In doing so, you've given us all a gift, a way to see Sacha's life through your eyes, and a way to carry his life forward. We have honored and remembered the life of Sacha Grunberg, a man whose life touched so many in profound ways. It's hard to imagine this world without Sacha. He was a man of intellect and depth, with a mind that never stopped learning and a heart that cared deeply. Those who knew him best saw not only his remarkable achievements, but also his humility, his humor, and his warmth. He gave so much of himself to his family, and his greatest joy came from the relationships that he built and nurtured over the years. His passing leaves a deep ache in the hearts of those who loved him most, his devoted wife and partner through life, Astrid, his family, and the many friends and colleagues who were shaped by his wisdom, kindness, and presence. Grief is the price that we pay for such love, and it's heavy because Sacha's life was so meaningful. But in this sorrow, we hold incredible gratitude for the years shared, for the stories and traditions that now become treasures, for the way his spirit continues to shape each of you. As we remember him, we also carry forward his values, his dedication to family, his curiosity, his passion for learning, and his quiet strength. His life reminds us of the impact one person can have when they choose to live with purpose and love. Today is about both sadness and gratitude, about acknowledging the loss while celebrating a life well lived. In the days to come, there will be tears, but there will also be laughter as stories are told and memories are shared. Through each of you, Sacha's legacy endures. His story will continue to inspire, and his love will remain a steady presence in your lives. I want to express my appreciation to Astrid for the honor of joining you today in remembering Sasha. You've heard many wonderful tributes to him and recalled memories of your time together with Sasha. Today also provides an opportunity for everyone to have the time to say goodbye in their own way. I want to add to Alex's words of appreciation to you. I thank each of you for joining with Sasha's family today. For your presence here honors his memory and brings comfort, support, and love to the family. Thank you to all of the family members who have assisted in setting up this beautiful display here in the chapel, as well as greeting us on arrival at the funeral home. I also want to thank Teresa Delamont and all of the professional funeral staff here at Edenbrook Funeral Home and Memorial Gardens for the support they provided this family during these difficult days and for taking such good care of us today. As we come to the close of this service, honoring the life of L. Dr. Grunberg, the family wishes to share that there will be a private family-only graveside following our time here. While the family proceeds to the cemetery, we warmly invite all others to remain here in the reception center. Beverages and hors d'oeuvres will be available right away, and the family will return shortly after. The family have created a video through favorite photos of Sasha, and it will also be playing through the reception. And during the reception, we will open the floor for a time of memory sharing, giving all who love Dr. Grunberg an opportunity to share more stories and reflections on his remarkable life. It's important to remember that when we leave this world, after all the time and after all the lives that we have touched, and all the ones that have touched ours, returning to the universe to take our place amongst the stars, it is love that we take with us, and it is love that we leave behind. Let us remember the beauty of life, the wonder of the world we share, the goodness of people we have loved and lost. May the memories of those we honor today bring comfort and inspire us to live with kindness. May we find peace in the shelter of one another and in the circle of life itself. I now invite the funeral directors to come and lead us, the family, to graveside. Thank you.
I'll be seeing you in all the old familiar places that this heart of mine embraces all day through. In that small cafe, the park across the way, the children's carousel, the chestnut trees, the wishing well. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way. I'll find you in the morning sun, and when the night is new, I'll be looking at the moon, but I'll be seeing you. I'll be seeing you in every lovely summer's day, in everything that's light and gay. I'll always think of you that way.
I want to take a moment to thank Ken, Alicia, Daniel, Tebby, Michael, and David, our pallbearers here today, for the strength and care you've shown in carrying Sasha to this place. And it's such a meaningful act of love and respect. You've helped walk him on this final part of his journey, and that means so much to his family. Thank you for being here, for your presence, and for the way you've honored him today. We're here under these beautiful skies to place the remains of Dr. Sabatai Grunberg into this hallowed space and to dedicate this space to every beautiful and precious memory associated with him. Although his body may no longer be with us, his spirit lives on in each of you, so long as memory lasts. Sasha, your family and friends are grateful for the opportunity and for the experience of knowing you and having you here with them on this journey that we call life. They're grateful for the memories that are embedded in their hearts, the experiences that you have shared with them that shaped them as people, and the love that you bestowed upon all of them. May you carry with you the love of these people who have gathered here today to bid you farewell. It's time to rest now, Sasha. Your work here is done. Nothing but absolute peace is yours. Know that you are loved and that you will never be forgotten. Sasha, into the darkness and warmth of the earth, we lay you down. Into the sadness and smiles of our memories, we lay you down. Into the cycle of living and dying and rising again, we lay you down. We love you. We miss you. We want you to be happy. May you rest in peace, in fulfillment, in loving. Go safely. Go dancing. Go running home. In times past, families have placed earth upon the casket, a simple yet profound act symbolizing our connection to the earth from which we all come and to which we all return, and marking our final farewell. Today, as we entrust Sasha to his Creator's eternal care, you are invited to place a flower upon his casket or keep the flower with you. Let this gentle gesture be your personal expression of love, respect, and gratitude for his life, and a sign that though we say goodbye, he will remain forever in our hearts. We also have a basket of stones, and you're welcome to take a stone to place upon the casket.
Folks, at this time we will just lower the casket just into the vault. So just allow us a moment to do that. And then we're going to pass around the flowers as well as the stones. And then you're all welcome to come forward. So I'm just going to pass the basket along. at this time, I'll just have first the immediate family come forward and then the rest after. So if you'd like to start. All right, and the children, you're welcome to come forward.
As you leave this place, we do not leave Sasha behind. We carry him with us in the stories that we tell, the laughter we share, and in the love that endures forever. May we honor him not just with words today, but with lives that reflect his values, his courage, and his kindness. May his memory be a blessing. Go now in love. Go now in peace.
I'm Jordan. I was Sasha's granddaughter. um, can everyone hear me okay? Yeah? Thank you. So last night, my husband and I had a friend come over for a glass of wine. And he asked what I was doing this weekend, and I told him that I was attending my grandfather's funeral. And to which my husband said he was the doctor for all the Latinos. And he said, "No way. You're Dr. Grunberg's granddaughter?" And I was like, "Yeah." And he said, "He was my doctor when I was 15, my mom's doctor, my grandma's doctor. I'll always remember going to his office in Marlborough, and he took care of my whole entire family. He went off about an ear infection that Sasha had fixed and cured, and it just, what a coincidence to hear that story even just last night." Sasha wasn't the grandfather to read you bedtime stories. He was the grandfather that asked you, "So, what are your plans?" As he peered over the top of his glasses, what does Jordan have going on for her future? He listened intently, and he listened lovingly, sometimes critically. He set a different kind of standard, one of excellence, dedication, one of diligence and perseverance.
Buenos Aires querido, cuando yo te vuelvo a ver, no habrá más pena ni olvido. El farolito de la calle en que nací fue el certinero de mis promesas de amor. Bajo su quieta lucecita yo la vi, a mi bebé tan luminosa como un sol. Hoy que la suerte quiere que te vuelva a ver, ciudad porteña de mi único querer, oigo la queja de un bandoneón, dentro mi pecho pide rienda al corazón. Mi Buenos Aires, tierra florida, donde mi vida terminaré. Bajo tu amparo no hay desengaño, vuelan los años, se olvida el dolor. En caravana los recuerdos pasan con una estela dulce de emoción. Quiero que sepas que al evocarte se van las penas del corazón. La ventanita de mi calle de arrabal, donde me sonríe una muchachita en flor. Quiero de nuevo yo volver a contemplar aquellos ojos que acarician al mirar. En la cortada más maleva una canción dice su ruego de coraje y de pasión, una promesa y un suspirar, borra una lágrima de pena aquel cantar. Mi Buenos Aires querido, cuando yo te vuelva a ver, no habrá más pena ni olvido.
Memories light the corners of my mind, misty watercolor memories of the way we were. Scattered pictures of the smiles we left behind, smiles we gave to one another for the way we were. Can it be that it was all so simple then? Or has time rewritten every line? If we had the chance to do it all again, tell me, would we? Could we? Memories may be beautiful, and yet what's too painful to remember, we simply choose to forget. So it's the laughter
sono solo e sogno all'orizzonte, mancan le parole. Sì, lo so che non c'è luce in una stanza quando manca il sole. Se non ci sei tu con me, su le finestre. Mostra a tutti il mio cuore che hai acceso, chiudi dentro me la luce che hai incontrato per strada. Time to say goodbye, paesi che non ho mai veduto e vissuto con te, adesso sì li vivrò con te, partirò su navi per mari che io lo so, no, non esistono più. It's time to say goodbye. Quando sei lontana sogno all'orizzonte, mancan le parole. E io sì lo so che sei con me, tu mia luna, tu sei qui con me, mio sole, tu sei qui con me, con me, con me, con me.
And now the end is near, and so I face the final curtain. My friend, I'll say it clear, I'll state my case, of which I'm certain. I've lived a life that's full. I traveled each and every highway and more, much more than this. I did it my way. Regrets, I've had a few, but then again, too few to mention. I did what I had to do and saw it through without exemption. I planned each charted course, each careful step along the byway, and more, much more than this, I did it my way. Yes, there were times, I'm sure you knew, when I bit off more than I could chew. But through it all, when there was doubt, I ate it up and spit it out. I faced it all, and I stood tall and did it my way. I've loved, I've laughed and cried, I've had my fill, my share of losing, and now as tears subside, I find it all so amusing to think I did all that, and may I say, not in a shy way, oh no, not me. I did it my way. For what is a man? What has he got? If not himself, then he has not